Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, one that might just change how you see everything you're going through. What if life's biggest struggles aren't punishments at all? What if they're actually preparations for a profound breakthrough? Together, we're going to decode 7 specific signs that you might be standing right on the threshold of a whole new reality.
I mean, really think about this question. It's the entire heart of what we're talking about today. We're so often taught to fear that dark night of the soul, right? To see it as a failure. But what if it's actually an initiation? What if it's the universe testing you, just to see if you can truly handle the very thing you've been asking for?
So where does it all start? Well, it usually begins with this deep, nagging feeling that your ordinary world, the life you've so carefully built, suddenly just feels wrong. It's like the path you were on just vanished, and the future is a complete blank slate. It's disorienting, and honestly, it can be pretty scary.
Now, this isn't just a string of bad luck. It's not random chaos. Think of it as a purposeful dismantling. It's taking apart the version of you that was built for survival, the one that played it safe, the one that kept you small. That version of you, as good as it was, simply can't go where you're headed next. It has to be lovingly taken apart to make room for your true, authentic self.
So how can you know for sure if this dismantling is what's happening to you? Well, here's a pretty simple rule of thumb from what we've seen. If you're experiencing even just 3 of the signs we're about to go over, you're not stuck, you're not failing, you're right at the threshold of a new life.
All right, let's get into the heart of it. These aren't just some random list of signs. Think of them as spiritual stress tests. And we can kind of group them into themes. You've got tests of release, where you have to let go of the old, tests of alignment, where you start tuning into your new path, and finally, tests of surrender, where you learn to distrust the whole process.
Our first test of release is often the most jarring one. It's called the cataclysmic reboot. Picture your life as a computer's operating system. Right before a massive game-changing software upgrade, what often has to happen? The old system has to crash, completely. In your life, this might look like losing a job, a relationship, or your whole daily routine all at once. Everything that you used to define as normal just falls away.
And this quote just captures it perfectly. The whole process feels messy, it feels deeply unclear. Kind of like that moment when a caterpillar turns into what scientists literally call an imaginal soup inside its chrysalis. But that dissolution, that mush, it's not the end. It's the absolutely necessary step to create the space for the breakthrough you really truly deserve.
Now, the second test of release, man, this one can be one of the most painful. It's the social exodus. This is when people you've known for years, your friends, your partner, even your family, start to fade away or just leave your life. And sometimes it's really abrupt. It can feel like this profound, deeply personal rejection. But here's the deeper truth, right? As you evolve, your whole energy, your puzzle piece, if you will, it changes shape. You just don't fit into the same old dynamics anymore. The universe is actually lovingly making space. It's removing connections that don't align with where you're going, all to welcome in these new, soul-level relationships that are going to celebrate your light, not ask you to dim it.
Okay, so now we move into the tests of alignment. And the first one is the resurfacing ghost. This is when, just as you think you finally healed from something, an old wound or a toxic pattern you thought you'd conquered comes roaring back with surprising intensity. And it feels like a huge setback, like all that inner work you did was for nothing.
But it's not a step backward, it's more like a final exam. Think of it as resistance training for the soul. The universe is basically asking, hey, have you really learned the lesson this time? By facing that shadow one last time and choosing differently, you prove you're ready to move on without all that old baggage.
The next test of alignment is a little more magical. It's what we call the inscrutable wink. This is when you experience a sudden surge of intense synchronicities. You know, you might be thinking of a friend you haven't talked to in years, and your phone rings, and it's them. Or you start seeing the same number sequence everywhere you look.
These aren't just random coincidences. The famous psychologist Carl Jung called them meaningful coincidences. You can think of them as a little cosmic nod, a homing beacon from the universe confirming, yep, you're on the right track. It's real, tangible proof that your inner world and your outer world are starting to connect, that you're shifting from that logical headspace into a more intuitive heart space.
And now, we get to the tests of surrender. The first one is incredibly frustrating. It's hitting what's called the backwards law wall. This is that feeling of being completely and utterly stuck. You're pushing harder than you ever have before, working longer, trying harder, and you're making absolutely zero progress. It feels like you're trying to run through waist-deep mud. This is a test of surrender. The backwards law is this idea, explored by philosophers like Alan Watts, that the more you desperately try to grab onto something, the more it slips through your fingers. The universe isn't asking you to quit. It's asking you to release your white-knuckle grip. It's a call to stop trying so hard and to start becoming, to start embodying the energy of the person who already has what you desire.
So here we find this beautiful paradox that kind of bridges alignment and surrender. It's called the eye of the hurricane. While your external life might look like a complete and total storm, with chaos swirling all around you, on the inside you feel this sudden, deep, and totally inexplicable sense of peace at your core.
This profound inner calm, that's your soul telling you, hey, it's okay. Everything is unfolding exactly as it's supposed to. You found your unshakable center. It signals this massive shift. You've moved from being someone who's constantly reacting to the world to someone who is reflecting on it. And that, right there, is a sign of true spiritual maturity.
And finally, we arrive at the ultimate test of your newfound strength, the final ordeal. You know, in the classic hero's journey, this is called the approach to the inmost cave. It's that moment right before the big breakthrough, where every single step forward is met with the most intense resistance. It feels like one last monumental crisis.
But listen, these final obstacles, they aren't there to stop you. They are there to make you prove to yourself and to the universe that you are genuinely ready to hold the weight of the success you've been working for. This is where you reclaim your authentic power. This is what prepares you to step fully into your next chapter.
Now, I know some of this might sound a little out there, a bit mystical, but there's a fascinating neurological side to this that really grounds these experiences in science. Let's take a look at the hardware behind this spiritual software upgrade.
Okay, so your brain has this built-in filter called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. It's basically the gatekeeper that decides what information gets through to your conscious mind. Now, when you're stressed, your brain's fear center, the amygdala, it hijacks the whole system. It tells your RAS to only look for threats. And that's why when things are bad, all you seem to see are more problems. You're literally blind to new opportunities.
So you see, these tests are actually training exercises. They're teaching you to stay calm in the middle of chaos. When you choose to reflect instead of just reacting, you calm down the amygdala. This allows your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for higher thought and growth, to take over and guide your RAS. You are literally, and I mean literally, training your brain's filter to find evidence of the new reality you want to create. You're building new neural pathways to lock in this new identity for good.
You know, once you understand these signs and the science behind them, you can start to find this profound wisdom in the storm. It empowers you to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and to start seeing yourself as an initiate in this really sacred process of transformation. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We can start asking a much more powerful question. What is this trying to show me? Remember, a diamond is just a piece of coal that handled immense pressure beautifully. A seed has to be buried in darkness and feel the pressure of the soil before it can finally crack open and grow. The darkness isn't the end, it's the environment for growth. And this might be the most important thing to hold on to. If you feel like you are being absolutely broken by life's pressures right now, please hold on to this idea. You are not being broken. You are being broken open. Open to more light, open to more strength, and open to more of your authentic self than you ever dreamed was possible. It's a process of expansion. So, I really want to invite you to reflect on this. Which of these signs are hitting home for you right now? Is it the release, the alignment, the surrender? Go ahead and share your story in the comments. Let's create a space where we can all remind each other that the breakdown is almost always the beginning of the breakthrough. Just trust the process. The storm always passes the moment the landscape of your life has been cleansed and is finally ready for new growth. The ultimate breakthrough isn't found in fighting harder. It's found in the quiet, immense power of surrender.